I feel amazing.
Flat.
I feel flat. It's really been helpful for digestion. That's like definitely come back, which is nice once I got the oxy out of my system. But like walking in the sun is so nice in like 60-degree weather. It's so nice. I also like am not like doing this anymore. Like on my
Oh, less
walks.
adjustment.
I don't do it anymore. I'm just like just out here.
And I'm sorry,
Breathing.
how long ago was your surgery?
11 days ago.
Well, first of all, thank you for being shirtless and bandageless for us today. I know that's a big ask for you.
No.
Yeah, yeah. And it sounds like week 2. So
Yeah.
we're at week 2 today. So I guess this is like have been leading up to week 2.
Yeah.
Has been very euphoric for you.
Very euphoric. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like and you know it's so cool. You know, obviously I was grateful that I did research on what the nipple graft like process looks like. Because the first time that I took off one of my bandages and saw like a little bit of like scab nipple, I was like, oh no, I'm walking too much. Or like, you know, I know I would have done that in my brain if I hadn't researched ahead of time. But now, like, even that process is fun. I'm like, look at her. She's peeking out a little bit. Peeking out. She's like, I'm coming out. I'm coming out too.
And one of them has feeling.
This one, yeah. Ironically, the one that is peeling fast. This one is, but it's more like under. It's against splotches. This one. And this one is like from the top. Like she's doing a little burlesque moment.
Yes.
And I have sensation in her.
Amazing. You tell us a little bit about the research that you did about the nipple grafts and what you decided on and why.
Yes. I actually went back and forth for a long time about whether I wanted to keep the nipples or not. And some people, like someone I was like an ex was like, we already see you taped, so we're used to seeing you without nipples. I was like, that's true. I guess that's something that I'm used to aesthetically. And but then I would watch like you know, name it, like probably the most Damiano from Måneskin in concert or like in clips, and he's shirtless in a lot of his concerts. And I'd be like, no, I think I really do want that look, like that look of like having a chest like the nipples being there. And I think it adds to the confusion of what I am to people, especially once I get to be out in the sun right, and like running around with my shirt off, because I don't know shirt, I don't know her.
Shirts don't exist anymore. Your closet is really bare bones.
It's really bare bones now. Even in the winter, it'll be like 20 degrees, I'll be like doing a shirtless run.
Correct. As you should.
Actually, my mom, who's actually she's driving here from Kansas City. She's going to come visit and hang out today. She was like, I feel like if there's any part of you that wants to like bring them along to this journey with you, instead of like eliminating them completely, it's more of like an evolution of what they are. But she was kind of the one that convinced me that, and like all these like kind of male chest envy humans, that I was like, I think I want to keep them. And I knew, you know, some people were like, you know, there's extra care that you have to do, and I don't care about that. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'll do extra care if it's the aesthetic that I like, if it's the aesthetic that I want, then I'll do it. So I researched nipple grafts. Honestly, you could just kind of Google it, but through a lot of resources that my surgeon had given me, which some of them were just medical journals with pictures in them. But even just the knowledge of knowing that, hey, it's going to look like a scab is coming off. Your nipple is coming off. I promise. It's going to look pink and a little like it'll get kind of the white healing cells around it too. That's not weird. That's in a good position. It was like pictures at certain amount of days. So I was like clocking that. I'll be clocking that now. But that was helpful, because it is a little scary the first time you take off your bandage and like the dark part of the
Yeah.
nipple coming off with it. So that would have freaked me out. But I think what freaked me out is just how early everything is happening, including like getting little zaps, like nerve zaps. And I was already getting nerve zaps kind of around, but it wasn't until like I guess a couple days ago that I started getting like zaps in the nipple. I think it turned out he placed them really, really well.
I agree. I think they look great. And
Yeah.
you went to Dr. Hannah, right, in Dallas?
Dr. Hannah. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about your experience there?
Yeah. I feel like Dr. Hannah, when I was shopping around, I was talking to a lot of people on the phone. And when I got to Dr. Hannah's, not only did a trans person like pick up the phone, and like all these like non-binary trans humans are there working at this office. But I remember talking to someone, his name was Asher, and trans dude. And I was just like super gentle, super kind, super soft. And it was, this is a surgery that I've wanted, didn't know I could have, but also it's surgery, it's like major surgery. So I wanted my mind to be at ease with people instead of it just kind of being like a clinical thing. And a lot of the other, this is no offense to anybody, it's just like my aesthetic with people that I want to interact with. But
Yeah.
the people that I interacted with at Dr. Hannah's were so giving of not only resources, but also information, because you have to like go get diagnosed with gender dysphoria, and like you have to go talk to a therapist, and like there's all this extra stuff that you have to do. And I had so many questions, and like even about like the physical, like there was a mix up with the physical that I was supposed to have, and my doctor ended up calling, was like, I'm so sorry, I was confused, I actually can't perform this physical. I'm like, what? So it was a little bit of like tossing around towards the end, like towards the actual date of the surgery. But they were kind during the whole process. They were very like, oh my God, listen, it's literally like a week and a half before your surgery. It's okay. Like, we got you. They had me cancel with the people that I was going to do and like pay extra money for. And they're like, just come, we'll do the physical before the surgery. It's just been like an incredible process. And I remember even going in for the first consultation I ever had in person. Dr. Hannah was like super at ease. Had a lot of jokes, like so much sarcasm is dripping from that human. And I loved it. Like everything was taken care of. No one dead named me. Everyone was very careful to make sure that you use like the right pronouns. And like the people who were in there with me when I did the initial, I'm very comfortable taking my clothes off, but everyone was very, hey, do you want to pick who you want to be in the room while we do this? And it was a very gentle process, but also felt like we were best friends already. And I needed not only some of the humor because of all of the, shit that's happening in this country, politically around us trans people, that I needed someone to kind of have like a light air about them, but also someone who's done it a lot. And like, he's obviously very passionate about what he does. He's obviously very good at what he does. But even like the first week checkup after, he's making jokes about the drains, and he's making, he's like trying to be sarcastic about my nipples falling off. And I don't know, I liked the vibe over there, and had heard from a lot of different people who had either gotten their work from him, or they were like, I wish I'd gotten my work from Dr. Hannah. And that was plenty for me. The vibe was right. I usually follow my intuition on humans. And the process was beautiful. It was a funny morning at 5 a.m. Because there was only one receptionist, and she was dealing with a lot of stuff. Like the phones were down. It just felt like a lot was happening. But I was very appreciative to be kind of rushed through the process. It was just like boom, 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 so that my brain didn't have time to like panic or freak out. And everyone was making jokes, like even like my friends that were in the rooms, my best friend Mitch, and obviously Hales was in there, and someone was like, who are we? Lovers, partners, side pieces? What are we? Like it felt like this comedic theatrical circus, and I needed that. Like that felt like home to me. And that might be panicking for anybody else, but for this, like, you know, artistic Pisces, it was real. I felt so at ease with the whole team. And then yeah, afterward was like, this is what we do. And then this is all your stuff. I got some great high quality shit to take care of these scars.
Awesome.
But yeah, the whole process was amazing. It was quick, it was kind, it was gentle, it was funny. It was just what I needed for this process.
I also have a lot of clients who go to Dr. Hannah or who go to Dr. Doolin, who's also I think he's in Plano, but like
yeah.
Close. But Dr. Hannah is one of a very few, like a handful of doctors who have their residency in gender affirming care or gender affirming surgery. And so and he's the only one that I know of actually in the area who has that. And so I think that also adds a layer of care. Like a lot of the other doctors or a lot of the other surgeons in the area, like Dr. Doolin, for example, is great. He's a plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
And you go to a plastic surgeon's office and they do a great job and they're very trans affirming and all of the things, but it's just a different experience than going to a person who is like, I've actually committed my life and my education to doing this thing. And like, this is what I actually want to do.
For trans and non-binary humans.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just being around other queer people, which already puts you at ease, you know? Like they were there in the process. It was incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I loved it.
Let's talk about how great your body is doing.
Yeah. So I added those little 5-pound weights that I have that you can add around your ankles for my walks. And then it was like a very, I'm not doing anything past like 20-25 minutes of like active stuff. But I was like, okay, let's see where my legs are at. Cause my legs were itching. Like I'm a dancer. So, you know, if my legs are sitting for too long, it like starts to like hurt. So I was like, let's do some like lunges and squats. I'm doing everything like just like, don't move the arms. And then every time that I felt, cause you have to like be careful about how high your heart rate gets. Every time I felt like I was like, that's probably too much, I'd sit down for a little bit and just like kind of let it resettle. And then I would try something else. And I did like a certain amount of reps. So it wasn't like, you know, me going over time or whatever, but I kept my timer on the clock so I didn't go past a certain amount of time. And then so that was day one. I was like, oh my God, I feel so good. I felt nothing but beautiful soreness that I missed in my legs. And then second day was like, what if I tried a floor plank real fast and just to see, because my core is like, you know, I've had this body for a while and it's used to moving, and not just in a like a training in the gym way, but like in a very like fluid, also dancer way, also like structured in Pilates and yoga way. And so I put Mind to Matter, I put on a timer and I held it using obviously mainly my core, which is very helpful in this process because if you don't have a core prior, you're going to use things that, you know, but I put Mind to Matter as like, I'm just going to use core and I'm going to just kind of let my shoulders hold, like brace, you know, you can like brace at a certain angle. And I held it for 2 minutes and it wasn't hard and I didn't sweat. And that's my normal. I can normally hold a 2-minute plank. I felt no pull in the scars, which was weird. And it didn't exhaust me. So
I just want to say out loud that this is not normal. So generally clearly I see people at the 4-week mark, which, as you know, is when the restrictions are lifted. So that's when you're allowed to lift your arms up over your head, and that's when the the 10-pound weight restriction is also lifted. So that's generally when I start seeing people, and at that point we start working on range of motion, and we start a strength progression, which always starts with a wall plank, and then we go wall plank, wall push-ups, plank from like a bench or a box, push-ups from that position, and then we move to the ground. So the fact that you're at week 2 and holding a 2-minute plank and getting your arms above your head is still insane in a good way. But I just want this is like an asterisk, right? Like,
Yes.
hey, like this isn't what you should expect. But
Yeah.
also, I think this is a really good opportunity to talk quickly about the protocol itself, because you're a great example of this, right? Like the protocol is there to keep people safe for sure. And like the 4-week marker is when like the incisions are starting to heal a little bit more. We're far less worried about the incisions stretching like as you go up overhead. So that's why they're there, and that makes total sense. But we also have to listen to our bodies, and like in your case, which again is like an insanely good case, but even still, like it would be crazy if you came and saw me at 4 weeks and I was like, hey, let's start with a wall plank because that's what we do here, right? Like that's crazy. And so there is a certain part of this where you know your body exceptionally well, and you should be given a little bit of free rein to do those things. Now, in that, you have to know your body really well, and you have to understand its limitations. And so you have a lot of knowledge of the way your body feels after certain things, the way you want it to feel after you work out, all of that kind of stuff. But in that same vein, it's helping your recovery to do things that feel good for your body, range of motion and in planks. And so it's just, you are exceptional. But like protocols, the protocols are there to keep people safe, and that's really important. But you also have to remember they're not individualized. Like Dr. Hannah didn't say, oh, Cap, I got you. I know what your workout routine was like. I know what your nutrition is like. I know how you prep for the like none of that is taken into consideration with this protocol, right? So they're saying, hey, we're gonna get most of this bell curve under the in this protocol, and we're gonna crush it. And for the most part, it works. But there are outliers on both sides. And it's just important to remember that like the protocol is there for the majority, and there are people who fall outside of that.
It's funny too. I think he kind of hinted at this because he doesn't know he knew that I was a personal trainer. He knows that I'm a dancer and have been for my whole life. But he didn't know like specifics. I also, this is also, my body could have reacted in a myriad of ways. I kind of had a sense that it would be this, just because I do know my body so well, and I have recovered from, albeit smaller surgeries, but like I've recovered from some crazy injuries just as a dancer, and rebuilt that knowing my body as a personal trainer as well as being a dancer. So it's like my intuition of my body is already like solid. But I wanted to make sure that I wasn't, it was stretching of the scars that I really didn't want to do, which is why I've been really like literally haven't lifted my arms since I last saw you. And for you. But like this range of motion is really easy. Like it's, like I can like roll my shoulders and it feels fine. I'm like rolling my neck and it feels fine. And then I know my biceps are craving something, and I know my shoulders are craving something, and so now I have permission to try that today.
Yes. So your permission is, so you have a 10-pound weight restriction.
Yes.
And you're allowed to raise your arms to 90 degrees. So that's hand in line with your shoulder.
Right.
So bicep curls, tricep extensions from that
back
position. Yep.
Yeah.
Lateral raises for the shoulder.
Right.
All of that is fair game. That's well within your restrictions to do. And so scratch that itch, babe.
And like, look, my pec stayed.
Your pecs stayed. Hey, can you show us can you move them?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you sure can. You rock. That's so cool.
That
Well,
is
while you're checking yourself out and moving your pecs,
yes.
is there anything in this week that you wish you knew? Like anything that you were like, ooh, this happened, and either you wish you knew it or like you found the information kind of like through different sources that you're like, oh, I want people to know this about week 2.
Definitely the nipple thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. I didn't know that nerve zaps this early is crazy. But I knew they were coming, which is nice. I knew that nerve zaps would be a thing. I've heard people also like have nerve zaps not show up until like half a year.
Yeah.
So I didn't know when those would happen. I did know it was a little more on a scale, but apparently this is early.
It is. In a good way. It is in a good way. But the nerve zaps mean that you're getting feeling back in the nipple. And so a lot of people are like, oh my God, I'm having this crazy feeling. And I'm like, right, no, that's the precursor to getting the what we would consider like normal feeling back in that area. So it's a really good thing to have. Like you said, there's a huge variability in time that it comes back. Like I guess 2 weeks is now our low number, which is probably not what I have said if you had asked me before this call, but 2 weeks is now our low number.
I love disruptor. I'm a disruptor and I love it.
Yeah, listen, you are. I'm like, okay, all of my timelines are just off now. But and it could be up to like a few months, like 6 months, but having that feeling is a good thing because it means you're getting feeling back in your nipples.
Yeah. I'm like truly, I'm excited. And I'm loving this process too. I do want to say that. Like maybe the plank is the only thing that I'm like, I'm just gonna test this real fast. But everything else really truly is just listening to my body while combining that with the knowledge of the protocols. But yeah, just being in shock like everyone else. I really am. Like I knew I was a fast healer because, you know, I've been like that for a while. Like bruises go away fast, scars go away fast. But I didn't know in this process that it would be like that. So I'm glad I'm listening to my body. I'm glad to honestly just now in this call, knowing that there are things that I can do that my body was kind of telling me, no, I think you can do this.
Yeah.
Like confirmation that I can listen to my body like that while still remaining within protocols is a lovely feeling.
Yeah. And it's cool that we get to connect every single week. And like, I'm excited for the week over week updates because even from last week to this week, it's like night and day. I mean, even just getting to see your body not bandaged, which I know it's still bandaged like outside of this, but like it's a huge difference to be able to see you. And I'm sure it is for you too, but like,
so cool.
I'm like, this person is healed. Like your chest is looks to the eye healed.
Yeah.
So
I never thing that was supposed to happen. It's so funny because I actually had some marks back here from the corset of death. Like that's how much it was digging into me. But bruising is, I don't think I ever got any bruising.
None that's visible right now anyways.
None that's visible. There might be some under, but like I don't know what's under this mesh because it's a different like color. But yeah, I don't know. It feels like I'm just healing rapidly.
Hey, you are. You are. I actually am like, of course, the person that we picked to do this really cool video series about like regular recovery from top surgery is a person who week 1 is like, I can lift my arms over my head.
Sorry.
I've been treating people post-op top surgery for like almost 4 years, and this has never happened.
Well, okay, but like on the bright side, silver lining, now you have this.
Absolutely. I'm messing with you. This is great, and I'm so happy for you.
I do slightly feel bad about that.
No. It's so good. But also like the other information is so good that we're getting. Like we're getting a ton of information about your nipples and about the scar healing, and we'll get a ton of information like as we get closer, like probably next week we can start pushing the range of motion, if I'm being totally honest. Like week 3 seems reasonable. And so we'll start talking about like, what do you feel as you go overhead? What's our stopping point? What does that look like? Right. So like, we'll start getting into all that stuff, which is what we do anyway. We just do it a little bit later. And so it's like, it's all relatively the same. So it's not that big of a deal.
It's either way.
Yeah, it's the recovery is the same either way. We can just be vocal about being like, hi, this is going to happen to you in week 6, not week 2.
No.
Is there anything else that you want to share about your week 2 journey before we jump off?
Except that it's just been amazing. I feel like every day there's like a new little miracle that my body's like, here you go. Even if it's just like more of the graft healing or my like feeling the scabs want to like just come off, and then seeing that there's like little to no mark under, you know what I mean? I think the hardest part for me is, because it's such a relief when it happens, is when I'm showering, because you still have to like shower from the back.
Yeah.
Letting it kind of, I so badly just want to like clean this iodine that is sitting under this mesh that has been there now for 2 weeks. And I know my skin is like, help.
Yeah.
There's weird orange bits on me. And then on top of that, this sticky mesh. And then on top of that is a scar, and we would like to focus on the scar, but we would like some help with cleaning, and I just can't give it to it. You know, I can't give my skin the relief of cleaning under here for another 2 weeks. And that's probably the only thing that I'm like,
yeah. It sounds like it's been really euphoric so far.
oh, incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah,
good.
I did the fucking TikTok thirst trap on it,
Yep.
but chest is out now. It's out.
Yep. Everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
By the way, I was trying to
yes!
but I was sitting under my trans rights or human rights banner. There we go. Let's get them both in frame at the same time. Yeah.
It's
Love it.
important.
I love it.
Boy,
I love it. Trans joy. I love celebrating trans joy with you, or non-binary joy.
Both.
Yeah.
Like, really,
I just don't want to assign you a label, but whatever the joy type is, I love experiencing the gender affirming surgery post-op joy with you.
It is tangible.
Yeah, it really is. Like even before we started recording, like when we were just chatting, like it's like palpable. Like I literally get happy just talking to you because of how happy you are. And like getting on camera and just seeing you sitting there shirtless is also so fun. Yeah. I feel like I may never see you in a shirt again, and like I'm so happy about it. I'm so happy about it.
I will tell you, I mean, obviously it's with the bandage on, but putting on t-shirts and just seeing like that's so rad. It's so rad.
We are gonna have to do a day where you show us like the flatness in a shirt. We don't have to do it right now, but one day we will be like, ooh, that shirt looks good too. And so that'll be a fun part of it.
No mask up here. I love it.
Come on. Okay, well, we'll wrap that up for today then. And we will connect next week, and we will probably start doing range of motion things next week.
Yeah, great. Okay, amazing. Bicep curl, lat raises, tricep.
Mm-hmm. And anything else you want to mess around with that's below 90. Yeah, like I call those no monies, but whatever you want to call them. The
Also,
external rotation at the hip, great.
great.
Your two restrictions are it has to be under 10 pounds and it has to be below your hands have to be below the shoulders. So as long as those two things are happening, you're good to rock.
Amazing. I can get that.
And next week we'll have you share your below 90 degrees workout routine with us.
Absolutely. I got you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited.
Cool. Well, I will see you in a week.
I'll see you in a week.
Cool. Bye.
Bye.